stood alone. I was in the middle of a sheet of pure white snow, staring at snowy white paradise in the trees. Two big, bulky bamboo skis on my feet begging me to be used. I turned my head to see Jean beside me. I must not have heard him over my thoughts. "Do you think there's a path through the woods?" I asked. This led me to explain how much of a joke racing skiers are. I mean, think about it. You never see anything. Not the trees, not all the beauty. Everything just rushes by, and that's that. That's where it all went wrong. It was early into January when a U.S. ski troop recruiter showed us it. That video. That damned video. The war. It looked so friendly. So peaceful. Skiers in white moving with incredible grace through perfectly white snow. At this point my mind changed. I thought I'd understood. I told Jean, but really I was convincing myself. Skiing wasn't such a disgrace. Yeah, that was it. Racing skiers weren't really to race. They were preparing for the war, and everything has to evolve or it will no longer exist. Yeah, that was it. That's when I made my decision. The worst decision of my life. I enlisted. We left the very next week. After 9 hours of driving, 40 recruits and I finally arrived at Camp Hale. "Out the truck, maggots!" the instructor screamed. We rushed into a dark, gross-looking building. We were told to empty our pockets, drop our bags, everything we owned went onto a table. Everything that was screamed. Everything. I didn't get it. Once we got out of the room, we were sent to a hallway where 3 men with clippers sat ready to attack whatever hairstyle we had. In that line, I finally received a chance to look around and see who was who. There was a large man named Paul. He was a friendly fellow. He always seemed to have a joke to tell. I also met a weirder, more demented kid, about my age. His name was Kane. The only words he ever said to me were, "I can't believe they're going to cut my hair." I did my best to avoid him. And later that day, we were introduced to what may be the worst place in the base. The mess hall. The Army named the mess hall real well, because that's exactly what it is. The food is completely unrecognizable and tastes god-awful. Nearing the end of our first day, we headed to the barracks area. We received a pack of bedding and received bunkmates. I was unlucky because I got the bottom bunk. However, Paul had the bottom of the bed right next to me. On the bottom, it was cold. Really, really cold. It didn't help that Paul had this terrible, terrible cough. It sounded as if his lungs were going to split open and come out through every orifice in his head. After laying in bed for several hours, shivering, struggling to find sleep, I finally lost consciousness. As I slept, I received these visions. I saw a giant fire line aimed at me. As I stood tied to a giant wooden post, the perfectly powdered snow slowly transformed into a dark, blood-red color. I watched Finney, Jean, and Brinker all step slowly away from me, looking at me like I was a monster. Then, worst of all, I saw my mom. I saw her walking downstairs screaming, "Leper! What are you doing? Leper! Leper!" I woke up. "Leper, we're going to be late to meal!" Paul was screaming at me. I jumped up, threw my uniform on, and tied up my boots as I raced out the door. We got to the mess hall, only to be stared down by Captain Greensby. "You're late," he had said. "You know what that means?" We stared at him, waiting the worst. "It means get in line and get your damn food." We ran across the hall to the line, went through and got the brownish green slop that was being passed off his oatmeal and sat down. We ate quickly and we were soon called to the line back up by the door. "Let's go, you lazy bums, we have work to do." Today was a day for mud pits. We didn't know that, however. We stepped outside and were commanded to enter the pits. Kane, being the stuck-up son of a bitch he was, refused. He was punched by the captain, then thrown into the pit. We had to stand there, buried shoulders deep in the thick, slimy, sticky, disgusting mud for 4 hours. That's when I lost my mind. I don't remember much of the mud. I was told I had fallen unconscious immediately after stepping in. What I do remember is what I had envisioned while in the mud. Not visually, but mentally. I saw kids from home, Finney and Jean. They waved at me, begged me to come closer. As soon as I did, their arms fell off and their legs turned into a mushy jello. They yelled at me to help them, and I couldn't. I thrashed my arms to the legs, struggling to climb my way out of the pit and to help them.
Help us!
They vanished, once again, leaving me alone to my thoughts. I don't remember much else. At sunrise later, we were finally allowed out of the pits. As soon as we got back inside the camp, everything felt different. I saw things. Terrible things. We went into the mess hall and Immediately, I noticed that the ceiling was opening up to swallow us alive. Help! 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 I screamed, begging. No one came to help. Why weren't they helping me? I was trying to warn them. Paul ran up to me. There's blood all over, and he was holding a human leg in his hand. I screamed for help. Anybody, please! I was carried to the camp hospital. I sat there for 3 days in pain when I was finally told I was going home. That was probably the apex of my time in camp, till I learned why. I had received a Section 8 discharge. Officially sanctioned psychotic. Too psychotic for the military. I sent a letter to Devin, inviting Gene to my house. While he arrived, I watched him closely, studied his every move. He seemed uptight as he came to the door. He stepped inside and I showed him to the dining room. There we discussed what I had received. He didn't believe me. The fool said it was fine. You're fine. I hit the floor. Footsteps running down the stairs. Gene staring at me like some deranged dog. Nothing better Stayed for dinner. Well, they suggested we go for a walk, so I put on my coat and we headed outside. I told him about Paul, the mess hall, what I had saw. He interrupted me, yelling that he didn't want to hear it. He didn't care. Then he took off down the street as fast as he could. I stood alone. I was in the middle of a sheet of pure white snow.